starting to see that his facts just simply don't add up.
Okay, Kimberly, before we get your take on the recent developments, I'd like to ask you about the new nickname. And where do you think Sloppy Steve ranks in the hierarchy of Trump nicknames?
I don't think it's as good as like Pocahontas or Lion Ted.
It's good though.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Because it conjures up the image of like a sloppy Joe, you know, this big messy sandwich or like something that, I don't know. It's not right, doesn't it? But it's not something I'd be happy with if I was Steve Bannon, because it just suggests sort of a slovenly, disheveled appearance. So it's not, shall we say, a charming, affectionate nickname.
Not the best one. And Geraldo, you were kind of mumbling to yourself when we were listening to the soundbite about the access that this guy got and kind of ridiculing the fact that he only got 3 hours in the course of, what, 9 months?
It's more than 9 months because the campaign began in 2015. So what you have is 3 hours. But that is not 3 hours of Michael Wolff speaking with President Trump or President-elect Trump or candidate Trump. That's him being in the presence of Donald Trump, the man that he absolutely analyzes as if he were a shrink and says things. I have to say that yesterday my wrath was directed at the Benedict Arnold, Steve Bannon, who absolutely has behaved traitorously to the family that entrusted him. Today, I don't generally like criticizing reporters, but Michael Wolff said something that I think begs exploration and analysis. Michael Wolff said, and I'm quoting, 100% of the people around Donald Trump, senior advisors, family members, every single one of them questions his intelligence and fitness for office. Really?
That's a
every single one of the family members of Donald, this is a patent lie. This is absolutely untrue. And at some point, even people on the left have to admit, as the Washington Post did today when they questioned that whether he got access at all under false pretenses. Everyone watching has to question every single one of the president's family. So Ivanka, who Michael Wolff said was dumb as rocks, Ivanka questions the intelligence and fitness of her father for office. This is not true. And it is unfair. It is so screamingly inequitable to accuse the president of being someone who lacks intelligence and fitness for office and then say every one of his own family agrees with me, the author. I think that this
well, you know
is
for a fact that they don't think that.
Absolutely, I know
They love
that.
their
Everybody
father.
knows
Yeah.
that. It is logical. You know that it is untrue.
It's riddled with a lot of dishonest reporting, and we've pointed to some of those examples, but they did let the fox into the henhouse, Dana, for a long time, so they do share a little responsibility for this salacious report.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that he said this morning was that he kept waiting for someone to say, "Why are you in this meeting?" And it's just inconceivable to me that this actually happened in the first place.
Isn't that true?
But remember, at the very beginning, they didn't have a White House communications director. It was unclear who was responsible for what. And Sean Spicer's role was not only press secretary, but also communications director. It's impossible, in my opinion, to do both and to do both well if you don't have people there that are looking out for you. And they really did a disservice to the president, like whoever decided to let him in. And then no one was able to say, wait, I don't think we should have him here. Maybe they didn't even know, or maybe they thought that it was just part of the show. That said, I think that he wouldn't have access to the West Wing if he wasn't granted it. You can't get in there. It's like you can't just walk up and ring the doorbell
names on the list,
and get in.
But can't Steve Bannon grant him that kind of carte blanche? Can't Steve Bannon, by hanging with him, hey, bud, what's up?
Sure. And here's another thing I don't believe either.
Me and Mike, here we are hanging out together.
Well, I think they thought it might be positive. One of the things that Michael Wolff did leading up to the election was to write a couple of pieces that were very flattering about President Trump and saying how intelligent he was and how he was going to be able to pinpoint what the American people wanted and how he was able to win. And so that was one of the ways that he got his foot in the door.
Yep.
And again, I don't blame him. And then he writes this book, and I've heard a couple of things also that are factually wrong. Like one thing about Mitch McConnell, there's a report in there that he declined to take a meeting because he needed to get a haircut, and his office says that's ridiculous, that never happened. The one thing I think that is a little bit of a danger is that he says, and I don't know if he'll reveal any, that he has notes and recordings and contemporaneous reports. And so if you were one of those people that thought you were talking to him off the record and you get burned in this book, you might be really cautious about saying it never happened, because then you'll be super more embarrassed. It's better to just let it go and try to move on.
So how damaging is it, Greg?
I don't know. When he said he was in